two for you, two for me, two for her. Ain't no pressures on it, now he wanna cut me like the lines on the dresser. When he look me in my eyes, it's my eyes, he see the devil right, and how he wanna cut me like the lines on the dresser, yo. Lines on the dresser, lines on the dresser, yo. Lines on the dresser, lines on the dresser, yo. Religion, worship, purpose, love is not enough for me. Love is not enough for me. I need a nigga stuck on me. Cut for me, love for me. Sacrifices speak for me. Put them burger beats, get on your knees and beg and plead for me. Yo, lines on the dresser, lines on the dresser, yo. Lines on the dresser, lines on the dresser, yo. Yo, if I'm a guy, this nigga be your baddie. Yo, if I'm going in on you, be your baddie. Yo, you say you love me, better be your baddie. Yo, you really want me, better be your baddie. Yo, if I'm a guy, this nigga be your baddie. Yo, if I'm going in on you, be your baddie. Yo, you say you love me, better be your baddie. Yo, you really want me, better be your baddie. Ain't no pressures on it, now he wanna cut me like the lines on the dresser. When he look me in my eyes and speaks my thighs, he see the devil right, and how he wanna cut me like the lines on the dresser, yo. Lines on the dresser, lines on the dresser, yo. Lines on the dresser, lines on the dresser, yo. Yo, if I'm a guy, this nigga be your baddie. Yo, if I'm going in on it, be your baddie. Yo, you say you love me, better be your baddie. Yo, you really want me, better be your baddie. Yo, if I'm a guy, this nigga be your baddie. Yo, if I'm going in on it, be your baddie. Yo, you say you love me, better be your baddie. Yo, you really want me, better be your baddie. Yo.
Oh, hi. I'm Hollywood Steve. You've caught me attending the funeral of a loved one. 1981 saw the emergence of a second wave of yacht rock, thanks in large part to one very horny member of the rock group Toto.
I swear, and I'm not even joking, that I had the best time with you today, Rosanna. What?
Your band should write a song about me.
We fucking will, I swear.
I'm serious. I'm really good at acting, and my chi is so balanced. And if you really want to get our root chakras aligned, you should get Michael McDonald to sing on my song.
Okay. All right, Toto, I've done some research and found out that the root chakra is my taint. That means she really wants to fuck me. But the only problem is Michael McDonald hates our band. So I've devised a 3-part plan to break him down. Step 1, ask nicely.
No. I hate your band.
Whoa, Mike, hold the line. We're taking Toto in a totally new direction for the 80s. Smooth music that rocks. If you don't change with the times, you become an irrelevant joke.
Me? An irrelevant joke? Please.
Step 2, make him an irrelevant joke.
Yeah, I can get that sketch on SCTV, no problem. Sounds hilarious. But I need something from you first.
Anything.
$75.
Agreed.
This is going to get you $300 worth of laughs.
More video for you. This time from the Grammy winner himself, Christopher Cross.
Hey, you're playing my song on MTV.
Oh no, this isn't MTV. This is a comedy show.
They're making fun of you. It's supposed to be you. Is that you? I've got such a long way to go. To make it to the border. It's you on the comedy show. That's hilarious. Michael, I'm sorry. Come back. I didn't mean to laugh.
And step 3, logins.
Am I an irrelevant joke, Jimmy Musina?
No, you're a handsome feller. You sing real pretty, too.
But you're drowning in the past, Mike. And I got your life jacket right here. It's called the 80s. And it's gonna be around forever.
Fuck you, Loggins.
The 80s can suck it.
Big time.
I know a few people who might disagree. Here comes one right now.
What seems to be the problem, Kenny?
Some people when they hear the blues shake their heads cause they just can't approve. Everybody ready to move.
There's times you wanna shake yourself.
There's nights you wanna yell for help. There's nothing wrong with raising
Loggins, I gotta hand it to you, brother. You really managed to annoy me. And you can tell your little friend in Toto that I'm not singing on their rock song.
Now, in the unlikely event that this plan should fail, I will turn to you, my brothers in Toto, to help me write a song so smooth and awesome that Rosanna Arquette will have no choice but to fuck my brains out.
You got it, brother.
Go, go, Toto, go!
Right now, brand new bakery fresh music from Toto. And forgive my Francais, but fucking shit! I wish I knew the girl this song was written about.
All I wanna do in the middle of the evening is hold you tight. Rosanna, Rosanna, I didn't know you were looking for more than I could ever be.
Steve, I heard the record. I never knew that smooth music could rock so hard. I'm so sorry. I'm ready for the 80s, and I've got some ideas.
Oh my God, I love it.
Oh my God.
So smooth.
Stay smooth, Steve.
That's a chakra. Oh my God. Oh my God, that's different. Oh, that's weird.
I'm Hollywood Steve. Good night.
Everybody, and welcome to the stream, she said, pressing the button that makes the microphone work. Hopefully everybody hears me. Jeff with Ron 10 says, are we doing vid reactions for money this stream? I don't know. I think I have to keep this short, and I'll come back later tonight because my parents took the cat to the vet, and my dad has a doctor appointment. And I think when they get back, he still has to work in this office. So I've just kind of popped in so I could do a quick stream and, maybe we could get some rant requests in. But mostly I want to talk about how I've got this new story I wrote called Sun Ops, Renegade Rookie's Reckoning, or SO3R for short. Kind of doing like a Coheed and Cambria style, like when you shorten the names of their albums, like IKSOSE3 or whatever. Yeah, this is a book that is largely based on, the main character is largely based on Bird, my husband, because I asked him for an idea for a book. I wanted him to create a book. And what he started describing was basically just like a fictionalized version of him, longboarding around San Diego where he grew up. But having superpowers and doing cool stuff. And so I was like, okay, I could turn that into a story. Basically starting from in real life, Bird was kicked out of his mom's house on the excuse of it was for the fact she didn't like he was smoking weed. He wasn't even like doing it in the house or anything, but she just didn't like that he was doing it and kicked him out when he was 18. In real life, he went to stay with like his grandparents who lived up the street and then ended up traveling all over the country. But this is going to be more of a YA story, more centralized because the main character is a longboarder. And I don't want to say too much about like my intent for the story long term, but for now it's a story about a kid who lives in the San Diego area, and instead of going to stay with his family, he decides to just ride his board as far as he can go. Let's see how far I can go tonight. And it just so happens in the process of this, he ends up discovering this glove that has some kind of superpowers, which he's made aware of because of another person who has one of these gloves that he ends up fighting in the park in the first chapter. And the power that he sees this guy using is an ice-based power. He realizes that this guy is not sweating, even though it's the middle of the heat, and they're both, furry animals. So he's like, I need that. I need that power. They get in a fight. He kicks the guy's ass, and he figures out how to use a personal AC cooling unit, which for somebody who's just been kicked out of their house has massive implications. So this is basically like a fantasy of what if when Bird had been kicked out, he could have lived entirely on his longboard because of magic, you know? And then progressing from there into a much larger narrative inspired by stuff like K, Missing Kings, Jujutsu Kaisen, and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Those are like the three influences I'm kind of trying to combine with the structure of this story, with the way that I see it going forward. I've left it very open for expansion to be as big as it could be. You know, Renegade Rookie's Reckoning is Rook's story. Rook E. Palmer, his middle initial is E. His name is Rook Emerson Palmer. His dad, a dork, is a big fan of Emerson, Lake, and Palmer. And his mom is a big fan of chess. So his sister is named Lake Bishop Palmer, and his name is Rook Emerson Palmer. I'm sure you can notice some kind of theming between a rook and a bishop as chess pieces, and just the type that there's thematic relevance to the name, given Rook is somebody who starts his journey going as far in one direction as he can. That's literally the first thing he does is, what if I just rode my board as far as I can in one way? So yeah, he's very much Rook behavior. But the main main theme of the story is freedom. It's the first word of the story, freedom. Freedom is the only thing I need. It's about, this young adult's quest to achieve personal freedom in a world where people will attack you just for expressing it at all. The first person who he gets into a conflict with is literally just attacking him because he is wearing the glove, and that's not normal. And, for reasons that we will get into as the story expands. Is the glove like an SCP? It's more like a magical girl wand or something. It's so part of this, I will say, I'll just upfront say this. Part of my intent with this is to compete directly with Harry Potter. Because I hate Harry Potter. I hate J.K. Rowling. I think anybody can do generic magic bullshit. I can make it make more sense using like the principles from Shonen Action series where like your magic actually has to mean something. But like combining that with like the basic spell casting, like everyday life type stuff. Also not being in a dumb school city full of fucking children, like a story that can actually appeal to adults and teach you something about being an adult and not just about being a child, which is like it forever, which is what Harry Potter is about, being a child forever. He never becomes an adult, even in the story. So it's kind of like a Harry Potter wand as a glove. It's just a cool glove with a gem on it. And we'll get into this in chapter 2, but it's powered by light from the sun. Moonlight can also work, but it's not as powerful at night, just because, you can kind of store sunlight in it if you're not using it all the time, It's basically like like solar energy. It's basically like a solar energy powered gem that lets you do certain magic. All of the history of why it exists, I'll get into in the story. I don't want to say anything more. The one thing I will say is that the magic is like 60 years old. Like it's been invented in San Diego and it's only being used in San Diego to anybody's knowledge so far. In at least this part of the story. So this is a very San Diego, which San Diego happens to be like the sunniest place in the United States. So obviously it's the type of place where a power like this would be useful. But yeah, it's a sun-based power system, hence why they are called sunshine operators. That's what SunOps is short for. Rook does not know anything about this. I do. I will explain it through the course of the story, of course, but I don't want to spoil anything. So, for now, we know there's something to do with these families that teach the magic. That's explained in the first chapter. The guy who he fights, Aces. There's a guy named Aces Malone. He's a big tiger dude. He's a really pissed off, intense guy. But he's a sore loser, but he really, really wants to improve. So I think there's a good chance he's going to show up again in this story. Because guys like that, they don't just disappear. But he basically explains, because Rook beats his ass and demands that he explains the magic to him, and so he learns some cooling operations. Operations is what this magic is called. So what you're doing is operations, and the spells, if you will, are operation codes. Just because like calling it operations and codes gives it more like practical application if you were trying to like metaphorically apply lessons from the story to your real life and not just like live in a fantasy of magic and stuff. Like you could think of this like programming, but with a stone that lets you manipulate reality if you know certain codes, basically. It's not super dissimilar from the way magic is explained in Kusomega, but it's going to be much more managed and like follow a system of logic and not just be like nonsense. But yeah, definitely I would categorize this as like young adult, like shonen, or it could be considered seinen. I wrote the word fuck in the first chapter, and I think I'm going to take it out. I think I'm literally just going to edit out. Yeah. What the fuck do you think? Because I hadn't even realized I'd written it. It's so natural for me to write swears that I don't think about it really. But there's not really a good reason for the characters to do like a lot of intense swearing in the story. And I realized that when I was writing the confrontation between them, that it would hit a lot harder if nobody was swearing until this guy says, "All right, bitch," because he's a dog. So he's calling him a girl dog. And it's like it's a whole thing that gets broken down as like a gender dynamic thing. Very fun to write that part. But yeah, I'm very happy with this first chapter. I wrote this over the course of 2 days. And Ed did a lot of editing as I was going. Like I basically will write a paragraph and then, go back over that paragraph, then write the next paragraph, then go back over both paragraphs, and like keep rechecking the whole thing as I go, to try to make sure it all makes sense together. So, all right. I've told you all about this story. I think some of you have already listened to it or read it. You can there's a link in the description if you just want to go read it. I'm going to edit the audio that I recorded last night. It's about 30 minutes long, so you can listen to it by way of hearing the edit, but it will be very like stop and go. It won't be as smooth as just listening to the broadcast last night. But also, I want to beseech you, anybody watching this who's interested in this story at all, help me. Please help me. I want to know everyone's thoughts, feelings, impressions. Where do you think the story is going? Where would you like the story to go? Where would you hate it if the story went? What intrigues you the most? What do you think needs to be explained? Some of it's probably stuff I already have in mind, but I just want to know what you are thinking as an audience any step of the way. Feedback is massively important to me because when Bird told me this idea, he was explaining it to me as like, oh, it's got to be a young adult, like Harry Potter, competitor, because it has to make money. And I was like, oh, well, okay, if you're trying to make something that is a crowd pleaser, like I am very willing to work with the crowd, Now I'm not going to take everybody's ideas at face value. Obviously, I'm a person of taste, a very discerning taste. That's why I need as many suggestions as possible. I like having a flooded suggestion box so I can go, no. That one's kind of interesting. No. Actually, this one's definitely gonna no. That's the way I want it to be for me. I like getting flooded. I don't like to pick one. I want as many options as possible, and then let the cream rise to the top. Like if there's an idea that's too good not to use, and then everybody sees it, especially if this is all public comments, like I can see your likes and dislikes. If other people like your idea, that's going to be apparent as well. So I like the sort of the idea of democratically letting people have some influence, some impact on the story. And of course, I'll read people's comments. I'll reply to them. Any analysis of the story, I will read on stream. I will link to it. Any fan art, I will post anywhere. Use the hashtag SO3R. Let's put that right there in the title. This SO3R tag on YouTube or Twitter will, it'll create the thing so that anybody can just click through here. Let's use an example. Twitter will this stream right here in the description. I've got the tag. So if I click on that, it'll take me to every video. Well, it would take me to every video that had the tag if there were any other videos that had the tag beside my other one. Instead, it's no, only in search only for the hashtag, please. Thank you. There we go. The furry web novel debut, the only other video that had the hashtag. All right. You have to make sure you click search only for this, or else YouTube won't know what the fuck you're talking about yet. But hey, look, there's the 2 videos that have this hashtag, right? So if you go over to Twitter and you search hashtag SO3R, then there you go. It's the only tweet I've made using the tag, explaining the tag, that Sunops is my new net novel series. Sunops is short for Sunshine Operators. The first story in this universe is called Renegade Rookie's Reckoning. When I read it on stream last night, it was called Rookie the Renegade's Reckoning. And then I looked at that and I was like I woke up this morning, thought about the title and was like, how did I get that wrong? How did I not just Renegade Rookie's Reckoning? How did that not occur to me first? That's the kind of commentary I need. That came from myself. But if somebody else had made that same suggestion, I would have slapped myself in the face for not thinking of it first. I would have been upset. I mean, I was already upset that I hadn't thought of it already. Imagine how much worse it would have been for me if somebody else had thought of it instead. I got to get off Twitter before I accidentally check my DMs. So anyway, my fan art of this is just going to be a furry Lively stand-in. Gary, that's fine. I might end up making that character if you can make a good enough character design that it inspires me. It has to fit the tone of the story, though, which has not really been defined yet because there is no fan art of this story yet. So that's the first thing I'd really like, especially if there's good enough fan art to just become the official art. That will kind of happen by course. If you draw such a good realization of these characters, the people are just like, that's the one. That kind of happened with Kusomega. I never drew Takuma. I had described him in the story, but I had, only drawn all the female characters. And Akira. So there was no imagery of basically any of the men in Kusomega until people drew them. And the first couple people who drew them did it so well that other people drew those same characters. That just became the design. Because what does it look like in my head though? Well, see, I'm not that kind of good at mental image work. In my head, I will tend to just rely on very generic images. So I might imagine the characters as literally a character from something else, that's just kind of an archetype that I'm going on. Or I can't describe this particular art style that I'm seeing in my mind's eye, which could even be mixed media. In my brain, it looks like the Amazing World of Gumball, basically, when I try to imagine something. It's everything is its own different style. So it's hard for me to create that kind of visual cohesion. But when I see other people who have a strong style, draw my characters in that style, it makes me think, oh, okay, now I get how the story would look like that, And I mean, multiple of those realities can exist at once. You can think about all the different people who've drawn Eva or Madoka or whatever. They still look like they are those characters, even if it's a different art style. But I wouldn't know how to define them in the first place. I wouldn't know how to make these characters come to life in a way that read with the audience. So far, there's only 3 characters in this story. So it'd be very easy to realize all 3 of these. The way that Rook is described, he's 6'6". He's a dog boy with gold fur, probably a golden retriever type, He's got long hair. whether that means fur or his literal hair or both, I don't know. Up to you. I'm imagining I describe paws in the story, so I'm thinking they have to have like paws, but at least enough. Like probably I'll only make humanoid creatures that have like whose paws could plausibly do things humans could do, you know, like obviously they eat cows. So cows are not going to be humanoid in this universe. They're just going to be cows. Maybe ungulates will not be humanoid just to avoid any crossover with the My Little Pony universe where ungulates are like the only humanoids or hoofed creatures or whatever. Gary Owens at $2 says Ellen's been asking Rook's breed for a minute. Yeah, it would probably be golden retriever. He's just described as having golden fur in here at one point, but you know, that's the Bird's grandparents have 3 golden retrievers, and his grandma's probably the biggest influence on him. So I feel like he's just another one of the Goldens, you know, in the pack. Rook's not gonna have a cow witch GF. No. And you know, there will be no cow people in this universe. I'm thinking for now, I've established dogs and cats. I don't know how far I'm going to take it. I don't know how many animals are going to be people. How much dog and how much boy? Well, he can have a snout as prominent as you want. Fur would be... It would probably be relatively... I mean, retrievers' fur can get fairly long. Obviously not like shaggy long. But I'm thinking like his head hair is long. Like he would probably... I'm thinking snout, you know, fur everywhere. He's full fur. So full fur, he's got paw hands, but he's got a human frame. You know, he's not like hunched over or anything like that. Like human posture, full fur, paws, hand and feet, paws. But he could pretty much hold he can hold a burger and he can hold a longboard. We know that much. I don't think there's any reason to think he couldn't eat a burger with a dog like face, you know. So I'm actually, fuck it, lackadaisy. Do exactly that level of furry. Because I love that shit. This level of furry is exactly what I'm looking for, probably. Like, well, actually, it could even be a little more furry in the face, more like this guy, you know? Like this, not as built. Actually, this is a good model for the tiger dude. This is kind of exactly how I was wondering what the generic model I had in my brain came from. It probably came from here. I'm imagining something like this for Aces Malone. Like this body type, this kind of demeanor. You know, just like a mean, burly tiger dude. And then like because none of these guys are tall, so none of them makes a good example for what I know. I've seen like dog guy images in my mind that are perfect for this. Like he'd be as tall as like BoJack Horseman, but I can't think of like there's not a tall dog character in that. That's also a good example of like how furry this could be though. Like BoJack level furry. Obviously I don't want it to be ugly like that though. Penguin with $2 says analyze mal profile lethargic. I don't know if I have time to do that right now, but we'll try to get to that at the end here. But this is a very pointed stream I'm doing right now because I don't have a ton of time. But I will come back later today. Gary said, did you actually ban Landon or did he just leave? Landon keeps switching accounts and being different people every day, so it's hard to know. Yeah, I see Furhole Kabuki in here. I'm pretty sure. Just look for the name Hole in a name and you'll figure it out. Anyway. Yeah, I agree that cow women are great, and obviously I've got my own cow character, but I personally, even though I really like this cow avatar, I personally identify as more of a cat girl. So I'm thinking probably Rook will end up with a trans cat girl at some point. That would be more in line with my expectation. I don't know if there's definitely going to be more than just cats and dogs, but again, I don't know how many animals I'm going to make humanoid in this world because I want them to be eating meat. I want them to eat the stuff that humans eat pretty much. Because I don't want it to have to be too different from the human world. Like this is basically just if people were furries, but like it's otherwise just San Diego, so I'm not trying to make it like a whole different reality basically on the basis that there's animal people. So anyway, I need artwork of Rook. He's described as, again, long-haired golden retriever. What he's wearing like a tank top and short shorts. Probably maybe like some kind of logo on the shirt, maybe like a band or a podcast or something. I don't know. He could be wearing a Trixie the Golden Witch logo for all I care. Like maybe they have like cow furries in their world, like people who themselves kin cows because cows are not humanoid. So there are people who, like, in the context of this furry world, are like hoofies or whatever. Hoofies who self-identify with hoofed creatures. All right, that's what we're gonna do. He's gonna end up with a cat girl who's got a hoofsona. That's how we're gonna do this. Rook is gonna end up with a cat girl with a hoofsona, but we can't deal with this until later into this book. I'm not gonna introduce a love interest until we've really gotten the Rook's story underway. I did catch Dima's new album release yesterday, so everybody should go check that out. Also, amazing gay furry content. Here, it's right in my right here, Pup Space. Wait, that's just one song, right? Yeah, here we go. Leggy, Pub Space, Break the Bed, Get Fucked, Puppy Crate, Do It Dirty, Breakdown, Champagne. Get Pupped is the full album. Yeah, hardcore furry sex music from Dima Fox Paws. Very excellent. It's on Bandcamp as well, of course. I love this aesthetic. This artwork is fucking phenomenal. Actually, yeah, this is probably, this has hands, but I think if you made the hands like the feet, this is about the level of furry I would like for this story. Like, attractive anime furry, but still very obviously clearly fur. So you just want someone to get milked? Well, don't worry. Anyway, so we need Rook. He's gonna be barefoot. He doesn't need shoes. Bird barely wears shoes in the first place. Furry version of Bird is definitely not wearing any shoes. So he's gonna be just wearing like short shorts and a tank top. He's got a longboard. I haven't decided what the design on the longboard should be yet. I didn't describe it in the story yet. I don't know if it's going to be meaningful or if it'll just be like a thing he's got. I think probably he's also going to upgrade the longboard eventually, so I don't know if I want to make it too sentimental of an object. It's just kind of his longboard, So I guess you could probably go wild with designing that. It could be different every time. It doesn't really matter. And then, yeah, like I said, Big Tiger Man, he should be wearing like I imagine him in like a bright blue polo, very pretentious, also probably short shorts, but nice name brand. This is a guy playing tennis in the park in Southern California in the middle of June with with his doubles partner and and an enemy team. So it's like hardcore practice. He's like a pretentious prep school asshole, a rich guy from a named family, the Malone family. So, he should look like a pompous dick, but he's got a little bit of humility because he wants to be better and he knows he sucks. That's the best thing about him. He knows he sucks. He kind of reveals it in a way that makes Rook feel bad about beating his ass. Aces Malone is the tiger's name. Then the only other character I described in here is Rook's mom, who also is tall and thin. She's a 55-year-old dog woman. She wears a pink bathrobe and her hair turbaned in a pink towel. And it's hard for me to imagine her doing anything else. We'll just call her Miss Palmer. I don't want to give her a first name yet. Because I don't want to give people the impression that she's going to be massively important to the story at this point. Is Aces Malone related to Post Malone? Possibly. If I decide to write Post Malone into this story, because I could easily see Post Malone being a part of one of these, like being a magic user, being a part of this. He would fit the vibe of this universe. So maybe we'll find out. We'll find out later. Maybe the big homie and his family will be Post Malone, Post Malone lives in Southern California, right? He could find his way. He could be out there doing fucking doing operations, spitting op codes. All right. So now I'm just going to edit this real quick. Again, I don't have all day to be at the computer for now. I will come back later, but I just got to get this thing edited. So if anybody hasn't heard this already, this is maybe a little bit of a choppier way to hear it than just going to listen to the other release. But once this edit is done, I'll be able to, just put this out as its own audiobook. I'm going to have to do some visuals with it and stuff, but I'm really hoping to have some artwork ready before I release this audiobook so that when I release this first chapter fully edited, I'll have some imagery I could put with it, something to associate the characters visually. So, I might hold off on releasing this until I've got a strong piece of art, but I'm hoping that people are already drawing right now, and you can draw while you listen back to this story again or for the first time. If you missed it, maybe read along. It's probably easier to read than it is to listen to me edit myself reading it, but I don't know. Here we go. It's not coming through the right audio source. Playback device, headphones. Thank you. Sunops, Rookie. God, there's a lot of fucking room audio in that. Sunops. Cool. Sunops. Rookie the Renegade's Reckoning. No, we're just going to take that out, actually, because I changed it. Book 1. Homelessness. Chapter 1. Midnight. After Rook's birthday. Freedom is the only thing I need. All right, let's make sure this makes sense. Sunops, Book 1, Homelessness, Chapter 1, Midnight, after Rook's birthday. Freedom is the only... No, that's like too fast. Okay, I gotta make it... I can't edit it like an analysis video. It has to have a little bit more drama. The fucking room noise, though, makes it really... Sunops, Rookie the Renegade. Book 1, Homelessness, Chapter 1. Midnight, after Rook's birthday. Freedom. All right, let's see if that sounds better. Sunops, Book 1, Homelessness, Chapter 1. Midnight, after Rook's birthday. I want a longer gap here, and then a shorter gap here. And a slightly longer gap there. Okay, let's try it that way. I don't know what that did. Sunops, Book 1, Homelessness, Chapter 1, Midnight after Rook's birthday. Freedom is the only thing I need. Actually, let's even leave a longer gap there. Midnight after Rook's birthday. Freedom is the only thing I need. Coursing through my fur, freedom is the cool night wind and the stale summer humidity. Loud rumbling is the noise that freedom makes, crunching asphalt versus polyurethane wheels bearing screwed to the longboard that I call home. Push for push, I compel time to continue, the scenery to change. Wandering the city forever stretches before me, asking if I plan to stop anywhere before the end of the ride. It can't end, I beg. I'm not ready to stop. But every night my legs begin to wobble, start to lock up, and the time arrives when I have to lie down, whereupon time passes without a count, and then I wake again, wondering how I got here. Homelessness Day 1, June 23rd, 2024, morning. 10:02 a.m. Rook Palmer was kicked out of his mother's apartment on the morning after his 18th birthday. Gary always, thank you. Kick, push, kick, push, kick, push, kick, push, coast. And the way I ride, I don't think Bird knows that song. A little before his time, but I always think of it when I think of skateboarding. 10:02 a.m. Rook Palmer was kicked out of his mother's apartment on the morning after his 18th birthday. I can't afford to have you here anymore, his tall and thin 55-year-old dog mother said, sitting in her pink bathrobe, hair turbaned in a pink towel, in front of the plated buttered toast slice that Rook had just set down for her on the table. When she finished her sentence, his paw that had just set the plate down swiftly lifted the toast and wholly slammed it between his cheeks to keep himself from shouting. Ahob! He forced through the burial mound of bread, unable to maintain composure. But you spend all your money on that smoky stuff, she replied, seething with distaste. I love this scene because it's perfect. It's the perfect combination of a comedy, horror, drama. You know, it's what talking to your mom is like. Shame, embarrassment, but also like rage. Rook, overcome with confrontational emotion, raced for the kitchen cabinets, rapidly producing a cup and then a pitcher from the fridge, filling one with water from the other, and then soaking the toast down his throat as quickly as possible so that he could retort. Tell me what you need for rent. Life has been Silas says talking to my mom is awesome. Sounds like a skill issue. Well, it depends on your mom, right? My mom's cool sometimes. I've never had difficulty personally with Bird's mom. I think it would be difficult to have her as a mother, personally. Tell me what you need for rent and I'll pay you, he begged, trying not to let his voice, that had started really booming with his blooming height in recent years, become a disturbance to the peace of surrounding apartments. How would you feel if your mom had spent your whole upbringing playing World of Warcraft? You'll never be able to move out of here if all your money goes... Living on disability. You'll never be able to move out of here if all your money goes to that stuff, she argued. Mom, where do you expect me to go? Are you going to let me leave my things here? Rook was incredulous. He'd considered the possibility of being kicked out before, but not that she'd spring it on him on the first Saturday morning that she legally could. I don't know. You can come get your things when you find a place, I guess, she said, almost flippant about the situation, like she was telling him to rearrange the room and make space for a new couch. Cool mom, low-key. I mean, his mom's cool. She's not an easy mom to have. Kicks you out of the house at 18 because whatever reason she could come up with. Awesome. Rook about-faced, unable to look at his mother anymore without losing his cool, and desperately afraid of worsening his situation further. He felt trapped in a lose-lose, unable to think of something to say that she wouldn't make an excuse for or try to throw back in his face like she'd always found a way to do. He knew he'd be better off figuring out what the hell to do next, which he feared would involve inconveniencing the few sane people in his family for help. You've got like $2,000, right? His mom continued speaking, while Rook stormed through the nearby doorway to his little room and started gathering his necessities. Plus, you've got your license now, so... It's like this is also part of it, like, you know, your mom thinking, oh, $2,000 in the 70s, you could buy a decent used car with that. And it's like, well, yeah, mom, $2,000, I could fucking wipe my ass with it. What about, it's useless. You guess? Awesome. Oh, shit, I skipped back. A throwback in his face like she'd always found a way to do. He knew he'd be better off figuring out what the hell to do next, which he feared would involve inconveniencing the few sane people in his family for help. Being out at 18 is just ingrained in American culture. That's partly true, but it's also partly like you legally have to take care of them up to that point. So it's like, you know, I think it's just kind of like, oh, you're off my hands now. I won't have to deal. And it's like, well, did you consider that maybe I could help you, you know, by being here? Like, which ultimately, you know, Bird's even younger brother did end up like having to help out with. Bird's mom now lives with other people. She's no longer has her own apartment. So, you know, I'm just saying these things don't always go well for you if you decide to kick the people out of your house who could have been making money for you. You've got like, and instead costing them thousands of dollars trying to figure their own lives out. You've got like $2,000, right? His mom continued speaking, while Rook stormed through the nearby doorway to his little room and started gathering his necessities. Plus, you've got your license now, so why not get a cheap car to live in like your dad? She asked. What the fuck do you think Dad's 2016 Prius... Yeah, okay, so I wanted to cut out the fuck there, because I don't think this story needs... What the... I don't think it needs that at this juncture. Fuck do you... What do you think Dad's 2016 Prius V costs, Mom? Rook was just shy of shouting, using the full width of his diaphragm to reveal a voice with so much bass in it that it threatened to rattle the picture frames on the walls. I also will have to eventually do a version of this, like with voice acting, where Bird plays Rook, and then I'll have to have, you know, other people to play the other characters. But you know, I obviously didn't use a voice with so much bass that it threatens to shake the picture frames on the walls, in part because people, you know, my granddad was sleeping in the next room over. I was trying to be kind of quiet. What do you think Dad's 2016 Prius V costs, Mom? Okay, frames on the walls. Well, you can always start with a cheaper one and work your way up, she said, with the flippancy of a coworker trying to give someone romantic advice about a situation that they haven't been keeping up with. Yeah. If you see something with an engine and 4 tires for under $2,000 in the whole San Diego County, give me a call, Mom. Rook bit back while aggressively slinging an old strap-buckled pack onto his back and hurrying for the longboard by the door. You should be looking too, his mother hollered after him, somehow still oblivious to the fact that he'd been searching for cheap cars every single day on every app that listed them for months, just dying for the opportunity to hit the road and forget about his life. My parents are already back home. I might have to do this later, because I'm assuming my dad's going to have to go right back to work. All right, everybody. That concludes this brief live stream. I'm going to dip out, and then I'm going to come back at like 6 in like 3 hours. And I'll edit the rest of this, and then we'll do requests and shit later.